Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Barlow B Theorizing, and welcome back to the Barlow Zone, home of the one and only demon hunter King Kaido himself sent to Azeroth. How's everybody doing today? I hope y'all are feeling fantastic, amazing, exceptional. I don't know, pick an adjective because we're gonna talk about Dragon today. And before I get started, I want to say a big shout out to my new friend Icarus One Piece Obsessions over on Tumblr for that amazing artwork I just put up there. Uh, just checked out their page over on Tumblr, and man, their art style it is something nice. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really like how they do their art. So hey, big shout out Icarus. I appreciate you letting me use your art on here. I hope this might bring you another view or two on the page, a little bit more views on that beautiful artwork you're doing, my friend. But as I said in my last video, I wanted to do a whole video about Dragon, right? It's something I've been anxious for. It's something I've been excited and waiting at. And I know it's not just me. As I saw this morning when I was scrolling Tumblr, saw that beautiful art piece. There are a lot of people in the community that are just beyond excited about this, right? Like, man, we're finally getting some more information on one of the biggest enigmas in our story. Somebody we want to trust, somebody we want to love, somebody we want to believe in, right? We just haven't gotten a lot about him. So, a lot of people are really excited. I see it on Tumblr. I've been seeing it on X as well. And it's going to be, I'll probably be honest, this will probably be the last video I do spending much time talking about Dragon, because he has been a pretty big focal point in my last few videos. And I did that video predicting that he would show up in this flashback. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but man, I want to talk about him. Before I get into that, though, trying something new with the notes, because there were a couple things that I wanted to mention in my last video that, just in the excitement of it all, my mind racing, rolling around, tumbling, right? I forgot to bring up, and they were in the notes for my last video, but how I was doing them, I noticed I was spending a lot of time doing this and trying to read up on what my note was. So I'm trying to be more concise. I would like to point out two things that I forgot to mention in that video before we get started on Dragon, right? The first of which being this panel of Marshall D. Teach, baby boy, man. I swear every time we see Blackbeard as a kid, he's heartbroken, he's sad, he's depressed, he's missing something from his life, right? And we're finally figuring out why. Now, I know I did that video, how bad could it really be, where I kind of tried to argue that Sakazuki and Marshall D. Teach may not be as bad as the community's making them out to be, right? And I feel like all the logic, all the reasoning I tried to put into that and one panel just did all the work for me. Like, Marshall D. Teach is no different than any of the princesses, islands, or kids that Luffy's already had to save, right? The only difference so far is Teach hasn't come to the realization that he needs help. And that's kind of the caveat, no? Does Blackbeard even have the capacity to ask somebody like Luffy for help? I really hope so, because I don't want to give up on this kid, man. And the more we learn about him and where he's come from, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Teach hasn't done anything specifically to grief Luffy. He's out here being a pirate, doing piratey things, trying to make his own dream come true. Now, yes, I know people are going to argue he's the reason Ace is dead. And to those who were really in the know are going to argue that Ace wasn't his target, Luffy was his target. But that was only because of what Luffy was doing and the name he was making for himself. Teach saw Luffy as somebody that the world government would prize, right? Somebody that the world government would be like, okay, cool, you took this nuisance off our hand, let's make you a warlord type thing. That was the only reason he was pursuing Luffy or ended up taking Ace, was because it was part of his plan to try and, as we know now, become the king of an island. Which got me thinking a little bit about that. I think my next one, unless the chapter is just an absolute banger and the spoilers are on point, I think my next one is going to be a Davy D family video. I have a lot of thoughts about teaching Zebek right now. But the other point I wanted to talk about before we get into the dragon bit, right, is, and we know who killed Harold now. And we got two panels just in this chapter with these silhouetted forms on Harold's ship that not only resemble the people that we saw in the flashback skewering Harold, right, but also wield the same weapons. They're all sitting there lined up with their naginata, right? We know who killed Harold now. It's more a question of, why did the world government order the hit? And see, I'm really waiting for for more people to kind of get on board with that, right? Because there's a lot of directions that could go, but this chapter and everything that it did also managed to find a way to let us know who the one that confirmed that first silhouette we got, right, was real. So this chapter also confirms what a lot of people kind of already speculated, right, that Harold was killed by his own crew. It's sad. It's disappointing with everything he tried to do, right? But like I said in my last video, I'm also kind of hopping off the giant bandwagon, right? Harold's been, what do I want to call him? He has these lofty ideals. He has these lofty goals and dreams, right? But he never really felt like he knew how to get there. And as I pointed out with Hajrudin, he's got no point to hate on Loki like this. I'm really hoping to see something better come from Hajrudin once this flashback's over. We get back to Elbaf, because man, I'm full invested in this flashback now for sure. But I am still, I am primed. I'm ready to go get back to Elbaf. We've got so much to finish up on Elbaf proper. So those are just a couple of points I forgot to mention in my last video. Wow, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. We're going to go ahead and move on. I'd like to start this off by, I presented the theory at the end of my last video, but I want to present it in full and properly. So it is a two-part theory. The first part being pivotal, I guess. Like, without this first part happening, there are a lot of loose ends to wrap up and not really many clear ways to make it happen, yeah? But the first part of the theory is that the Kuja pirates will be making their appearance in this God Valley flashback. Now, I know it could be argued that the Kuja might not feel a pressing need to go there. As I kind of mentioned in the last video, when they dropped off Shaki on Hachinosu, it seemed like, yeah, they still revered her, they still had respect for her, but they also kind of had that for Gloriosa, and they know Gloriosa is with the, you know what, actually, do the Kuja pirates know Gloriosa's rolling with rocks now? I gotta believe, with how much time it's been since Gloriosa left and how Roxon and his squad have been making moves, the Kuja pirates gotta know, right? Let me know if you disagree. I could 100% see a different angle, or understand a different angle. I can't see it, but I could understand another angle being there. So let me know how you feel about do the Kuja pirates know that Gloriosa's with Zebek? But either way, the Kuja pirates showing up in the God Valley flashback isn't for Shaki. And I know That's wild because that's what it's going to be pitched as, right? Like the Kuja Pirates are going to catch wind that Shaki's being held as a prize in some really messed up tournament. So, of course, they're going to go to try to defend and protect and save their former empress, a woman they all still revere and hold in high regards, even though she's not the captain or empress anymore. But story wise, the Kuja Pirates being present just makes the most sense, right? And I'll kind of get it more into that here in a minute. We're gonna get onto the dragon bit because this is the brunt of the theory, right? Like I've kind of got the whole scene mapped out in my head, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop my. This is fan fiction, but it's fan fiction intended as a theory because I do have to kind of tell a story of my own. I'm making a lot of predictions all at once about events that are going to be happening in chapter 1160. By the way, I did forget to actually look into that. Hold on real quick. I'll be right back. I'm going to make a note. All right. Hey, thank you for giving me that second. I had to make sure I jotted that down. Didn't want to forget it again. So let's go ahead and get on with the fanfic theory I'm going to present for y'all, right? Because it's kind of a long one. But as we saw in this chapter in 1159, Shamrock Shanks's mom was asking Dragon to protect her kids. Don't let them fall into that bastard's hands. I'd like to believe, nah, you know what? I'm not going to go into that. Because of this request and Dragon being the person he is, kind of seeing what's going on around him, right? He's going to go on the hunt for these babies. I imagine there's some kind of conversation, no matter how brief it was, happened with Shamrock Shanks's mom and Monkey D. Dragon before he went out. So he's going to go out searching for the babies, ultimately run into them, no doubt in the vicinity of Garling, and he's going to try and make a move. Now, this is going to make him a traitor. And doesn't matter what his reasoning was, doesn't matter if his intent was to turn traitor. Like I said, you know, he's a good dude. He might just be out here thinking like, oh, okay, this woman wants her children to be safe. I'm going to go help find them because I know she can. She is dead to rights. Like, homegirl is cooked. God rest her soul. Ferry her to Davy Jones' locker in a hurry. I don't know, actually. Davy Jones' locker is a bad thing, isn't it? And this woman wasn't a pirate. Some Valhalla. There we go. Usher her to Valhalla in a hurry. You know, just because we're on Elbaf, we're going to go ahead and lean into the Norse afterlife for this death real quick. But anyway, once Dragon finds the babies, right, he's going to bust a move, try and go get them. He might even think like he's doing something that the Marines would be okay with. So he might not even like run in, grab the babies and run out. He might just like stroll on up to the stroller. Like, oh, hey guys, I finally found you. Your mom asked me to look after you. Triggering Garling. And boy, as soon as Garling turns around, there's going to murderous intent in those eyes. Dragon will understand that he messed up in this moment. But man, Dragon's never second guessed any decision he's made. Sure, this is still, you know, early in his life before he really got that self-confidence that carved the man that we know as Monkey D. Dragon, the most wanted criminal in the world. And honestly, this event might be why he's been endowed with the epithet most wanted criminal in the world. I mean, you're still a God's Knight's baby, somebody who's on the career path to join the Gorosei. Hey, man, there's no forgiveness for that, you know? So anyway, Dragon gets a hold of one of the babies, and I am going to assume it's Shanks. I'm sure there are going to be people who are like, oh, hey, have we actually been following Shanks, or has it been Shamrock all along? There's a lot of baggage that comes with twins, right? But I believe that with the reveal of Ochoko being the traitor on the Rock's crew, we can feel pretty confident, assuming Oda's going to continue to use the easy way out as long as it is impactful to the story overall, or can feed into the canonicity of a story he's already spent 28 years building, right? Which does include allusions to this flashback we are currently in. So, Dragon's gonna get a hold of Baby Shanks, right? Garling's gonna turn around, murderous intent in the eyes, start busting a move. Dragon realize, oh man, I fucked up. I gotta go. Turn around, start running. In the process of running away, trying to get away from Garling, right? Dragon is going to run into Ginny, Eva, and Kuma, the trio, because this quartet we know will form the core of the Revolutionary Army. So while he's running away with this baby, he's gonna run into our favorites, right? So, some of our favorites, and they're gonna have a quick conversation. Perhaps even Kuma, Eva, and Ginny will see Garling pursuing Dragon, and we got to keep in mind it's highly likely at this time Ivankov and Kuma. Hey, what's up, Alice? Ivankov and Kuma do not have their devil fruits yet. So this is just three kids running into a Marine who is being chased by a God's Knight. Garling still has the advantage, but we've got Ivankov and we've got Kuma. Like, their willpower is insane. I don't think that the four of them going full haul right now have a chance, but the four of them might be able to put up just enough of a fight for Dragon to hide Baby Shanks in a treasure chest and return to back up these people who were willing to throw away their lives to protect him, trying to protect a kid that he was just randomly asked to protect. Like, he's gonna see these people and be like, no, these aren't bad people. I gotta get back there and go back, get back on the battlefield. The four of them are gonna be going around, and it's gonna occur to Garling, like, wait, where'd you put my son? Where's my boy at? And Dragon ain't gonna tell him. And I think, real quick, I want to mention, it's not in my notes, but I do want to mention, it's really curious that a treasure chest was chosen, because it's the one place a celestial dragon would never think to look, right? Like, oh man, I've already got all the money I could ever need. I've already got all the jewels, all the whatever they're holding. I don't even want a devil fruit. Like, there is nothing but reasons for the celestial dragons to never look in a treasure chest and never think to look in a treasure chest when searching for Baby Shanks, right? So they get back to the fight. Garling realizes, oh, hey, you ain't got the kid. Where'd you put my kid? Dragon's, I ain't telling you. So Garling turns around to leave because, three lowly slaves. Yeah, one of them's the Buccaneer kid. He's probably worth some points, but three lowly slaves and a traitor, that's probably not worth enough points to continue this fight when he could be out earning bigger kills by taking down the royal family, right? Which is the royal family, the Davy D clan, right? Because you know what? I think I'm gonna sit on that one until the Zebek and Teach part. I've got a really curious theory about that as well. But anyway, because Garling ultimately decides to retreat, call in on a Denden Mushi, hey, I got a traitor and three slaves over here. Somebody come kill these fools. It's not worth my time. And, probably just some random Marine squad's going to come in to try and take them down. Which, we're talking about Dragon, Kuma, and Eva. Even if they ain't got devil fruits or nothing like that, their willpower alone is insane. And a group of random Marines is not going to be able to stop them. So this allows them to get away from the encounter. No doubt beat up, bloody, bruised, bumps, cuts, because, Garling uses that sword. People are probably getting cut. But they make their escape. They survive the encounter. And sometimes that's all you need, right? Sometimes you just need to survive, back up, and make an escape to regather. And that's why we need the Kuja pirates, and why it specifically has to be the Kuja pirates that help this group make their escape, right? Now, why? Why does it have to be the Kuja pirates? Well, We know Rock's crew's about to disband. Dude's about to assumedly meet his fate. Kaido's getting ready to eat a devil fruit. Eva and Kuma are getting ready to eat a devil fruit. Sure, I've seen people arguing, hey, Kuma just used the pawpaw fruit to get himself out of there. Just bam. Except not once in this entire story has somebody acquired a devil fruit power and immediately understood every aspect about that, right? Now, there have been some who went out, chose devil fruits, and kind of had an idea of what was going on, but it still took years of training to really get an understanding of that devil fruit. Why would Kuma be different? Why would he just not get force-fed this devil fruit by Eva because, hey, it might be something good, and immediately understand that, oh, hey, my paws can now zip us anywhere in the world I know? Not likely. Like, more than likely, the first thing that Kuma's going to find out is that he's got some kind of force ability. He's going to go to touch somebody and then swoop, gone. He might even think he just exploded somebody entirely out of existence before he starts training with it. Point being that just because he has a fruit that we know allows him to travel, we have no reason to believe that he would understand that this devil fruit would allow him to travel. So he's not going to be able to get them off the island. The Rocks pirates almost certainly aren't going to be able to get them off the island. I mean, there are some outliers. Big Mom might have an interest in the slave part of the group because they're kids, right? Former slaves. It does kind of feel like she's already got her devil fruit at this point, though. So she would almost certainly demand a portion of their life in exchange for her getting them to safety, which they aren't likely to do in this moment. Especially if the Kuja pirates, and I'm right, and the Kuja pirates do roll up. Now, we also have Rogers, though, and we do know Rogers makes it off the island. He survives the encounter intact, ship still ready to go. But we've seen Rogers' ship after the God Valley incident, and there wasn't a trace of Dragon, Kuma, Eva, or Ginny on that ship. Some people are arguing that Oda's doing retcons right now. I'm arguing he's just filling in the blanks that he left the first few times he showed us this. This would be Oda having to retcon something he's already put in the series and, kind of stood behind at this point. It's possible, I do admit. But, and hear me out, because this is where the theory really gets spicy, right? The Kuja pirates tie up so many loose ends, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. If the Kuja pirates show up and our core group of RA members gets off the island with them, it will be our confirmation that Tritoma is Luffy's mom. Because that's part of the reason why it's got to be the Kuja pirates, right? We need an organic way for Dragon to meet Tritoma. If like we're kind of all, or I don't want to say all, like a lot of us are theorizing that Tritoma is Luffy's mom, we need an organic way for Dragon and Tritoma to meet that isn't being forced, that isn't like, oh, I don't know, say Dragon was out sailing around, accidentally ended up in the calm belt and just kind of coasted his way to Amazon Lily. Or the Revolutionary Army ended up fighting the Kuja pirates somewhere. Like, this would all kind of be forced. In a way, I don't know. The sea battle doesn't really seem like it would be too forced. Whoa. I hope that wasn't too loud. I apologize if it was. But aside from Dragon meeting Tritoma, right? We have 2 points, or no, I guess I already covered the devil fruit point with Kuma, but there's another point with Kuma. How did he know where Amazon Lily was when he sent Luffy there for the time skip? Like, yeah, he's a warlord. He might have been sent to recruit Boa. I think, actually. There, if I'm remembering right, there was a point during his warlord stint where he was sent to Amazon Lily. So maybe that's the easy answer. That's how he knew Amazon Lily was there, right? But it would make sense for Tritoma and the Kutra pirates to be worried about these kids and see a marine, like potentially they even show up early enough to actually see Dragon kidnap Shanks in an effort to save him and see what the God's Knights are really about and all of this that is going on. So, we got like Kuma, it's not justifiable that he would understand his brand new devil fruit that was forced on him, not one that he chose, had researched, and knew anything about. It's not likely he would understand that it gives him the power to travel anywhere in the world he wants. This would also explain how Kuma knew where Amazon Lily was in a much friendlier manner than him being sent there hostily. It explains how Dragon and Tritoma would have met. And, as I kind of alluded to earlier, there are story reasons why the Kuja wouldn't show up right here. But I think because it's going to be the easy answer for so many angles, Oda can't afford to not have the Kuja pirates show up during this flashback and be that great escape for Dragon and his ragtag group that become the core of the Revolutionary Army. And, I'd like to know where you guys sit on all this. Dragon, man, even learning new stuff about him this week, he's still an enigma, right? Like there's still a lot we don't know about Dragon or how the Revolutionary Army officially formed. But the one takeaway we can get from this chapter, I guess two. Number one being Dragon is back. Ah, man. I know it's a minor theory, but man, it feels good to be right about even minor things like this, right? But more importantly, the biggest takeaway from Dragon's perspective from chapter 1159 is that God Valley was the catalyst for why he wanted to leave the Marines and form his own force. But, did I miss anything? Is there something y'all are excited about with Dragon that, kind of flew over my head? Was there something in one of the panels that I may have missed? Let me know. And, as always, if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. I hear it helps the algorithm or something, but honestly, it's just nice to see the likes, see that the first like's always me when I'm watching it right after posting, but every additional like past that is like, okay, no, there was actually somebody out there that this idea resonated with. So it gives me that vigor to come back with this big old wide smile for the next video. So if you guys are enjoying the content, please do hit that like button. Let me know that you're enjoying it. Maybe even drop a subscribe. Now, I'll be honest, the only reason I'm even asking for subscriptions is, I'm not trying to make YouTube a money-making opportunity, but they do. Anytime somebody posts on the platform, they send you an email for the YouTube studios, and it's got information on how to make money. So, getting to a certain number of subscribers is part of that. It'd be nice to help my buddy pay the bills. It's been hard finding work. So if you're enjoying the content enough that you're coming back for more than one video, consider hitting the subscribe button. It'd help your boy out. And as always, though, you can check me out on the socials on X and Tumblr at BarlowBTheorizing. And I will make sure to drop a link to the Discord community, the Barlow Zone, in the description down below, where I've got it set up. We talk about more than One Piece. I got the Monsterverse there if you want to talk about kaiju. I got DC, I got Marvel, I've got gaming stuff. I am stoked for Fallout Season 2. So, you know, I'm man, I'd love to have somebody to talk about that with. If any of this sounds like it might be fun to chat with, feel free to come hit your boy up. And as always, much love, fam.